Okay, today we are reviewing some equations. So before we jump into it, I want to remind you that we are going to possibly have contradictions and possibly have identities, as well as just regular problems that can be solved. So let's dive in. So for this problem, I want to add 3 to both sides. Oh, don't put my equal sign yet. See, I'm already jumping the gun. I have 5x equals 15. So x is going to equal 5 times what? 5 times 3 is 15. Or 15 divided by 5 gives me 3. Okay, let's jump over to this problem. Oh, I have parentheses and I have a number out front, which means, like I mentioned yesterday, I have to distribute. So this is going to be 2 times 3x is 6x. 2 times 2 is 4. Well, something looks weird here. It's the same thing on both sides. So in this case, this is what is known as an identity. Which means the answer is all real numbers. Okay, so that's what this problem is. Identities are the same thing on both sides. So if I were to simplify this out, I would end up with 0 equals 0. No matter what I plug in for x, it's going to come out to equal the same thing. Okay, let's move on. So here I've got a variable on both sides. So I'm going to take the smaller variable to the larger by doing the opposite. So that's a positive b, so I'm going to subtract b. 3b minus 1b gives me 2b. Bring down my plus 2, my equals, and my positive 4. Now I need to move my 2 to both sides, and I'm going to end up with 2b equals 4 minus 2 is 2, which means b is going to equal a positive 1. Here, I need to, I guess, move my a, so negative a minus a minus a. I end up with 3 equals a negative 2. Well, that's not true. It's not, because this is what is known as a contradiction. There is no solution for these. That is when the variable cancels it out to leave an equation that is a contradiction. So 3 cannot equal negative 2. Contradiction, no solution. Let's move on to absolute value. So here I have the absolute value of r plus 7 equals 13. So we have to actually split this into 2 equations. So we've got r plus 7 equals 13. And then we have negative r minus 7 equals 13. So what I did here is I just made everything in the absolute value sign the opposite of what it was so that I could solve for this. So I'm going to minus 7 from both sides, and I'm going to end up with r equals 6. Okay? So r equals 6. We're not done with that yet, so don't circle it. And then here I need to add 7 to both sides. I end up with negative r equals 13 plus 7 is 20, which means the positive r is going to equal a negative 20. So I multiplied both sides by negative 1 there to give me a positive r. So now all I have to do is I'm going to plug this back in here. So I've got absolute value of 6 plus 7 equals 13, and I've got the absolute value of negative 20 plus 7 equals 13. So here I've got a positive 13. That is true. Here I've got the absolute value of a negative 13. That is also true. So both of these are our solutions. Now we can go back and circle them. So let's look at this one here. I've got a 4x over here. That's okay. I can still solve this problem. So I'm going to split it like I did in the previous one. So I'm going to do 2x minus 3 equals 4x. And then I'm going to come down here. I'm going to do negative 2x plus 3 equals 4x. Again, see how I just did the opposites of it. So I'm going to subtract my 2x from both sides. I'm going to have negative 3 equals 2x. I subtracted 2x. I didn't have space. I didn't space that out enough, so I kind of did that in my head. And then here I can divide both sides by 2 to have negative 3 over 2 equals x. Okay? So down here, I'm going to add my 2 to both sides. So add 2x. I have 3 equals 6x, divide both sides by 6, and I have 3 over 6 equals x, which we can simplify to 1/2. So I'm going to underline 1/2, and I'm going to underline negative 3/2. So here we're going to plug this in. So I'm going to start with the 1/2 because it's closest. So 2 times 1/2 minus 3 equals 4 times 1/2. So 1 minus 3 equals 4 divided by 2 is 2. So absolute value of negative 2 equals 2. So that is a answer. And then I'm going to plug in my other one. So I have absolute value of 2. Oh, sorry. I just realized I'm not on camera here. You know me. When I get going with these, I just want to keep going. So 2 times negative 3/2 minus 3. That's going to cancel out. Equals 4 times negative 3/2. Okay, that's going to become a 2. That's going to cancel out. So here I have negative 3 minus 3, which is negative 6, equals 2 times negative 3, which is negative 6. Okay. I cannot have this happen. I can't have the absolute value of something equal a negative. So this ends up becoming what is known as an extraneous solution. So my only solution to this one is my positive 1/2. Okay, I will see you guys tomorrow with some more review over some of the basics.